Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Jamal and Hyde. And today we'll be doing something a little bit different. So big ups to the Nigerian team. You know, um, the the FIBA Alpha Baskets is qualifiers is currently going on, and I was I watched the fourth quarter of the game, and I think both sides were decent, but the fourth quarter of the game was when the Nigerian side. Um, they just overtook the whole game. They were under control and they won. Actually, they won. But I still maintain the fact that a very decent college basketball team would beat both sides. Yeah, I had a conversation earlier with some teammates, and I think I said that I told them that why, because there wasn't a lot of efficiencies. Um, in the team play, I didn't see a lot of ball rotation. I didn't see they depended mostly on aggression and individuality, which I think if you play if you bring that to if you take that against a team, a solid team, a compact team, you're definitely going to lose. But aside that, so today we're going to be doing a little bit of C plus plus. Um, I wasn't planning on doing this, but we have to because I was dealing with some issues earlier. And then, well, since this is what we do, why not just share this whole stuff with everybody? Let's just jump right in into the question and the code. We're going to start from the very beginning. So, whenever you when you install your Microsoft Visual Studio, this is what you get, right? This is well aside this recent project which I've been working on, you get to see this interface, right? And so we're just going to go with new project and right here we're going to pick a name. So and then you make sure to select either a Windows 32 console application or an empty project, right? And then okay. So um today we're just going to be dealing with external files, right? Reading and writing external files. So I was working on a problem earlier today and it's demanded reading and writing from external files using a class, and it gave me an issue because while C++ 11 and ahead allows you for um, the use of range in a for loop, the C++ 2010 doesn't. So I had no idea that was how it worked. But now that I do, I just wanted to show and put you guys through. So right here, you right click and you add a new item. And let's call this test number one. And then make sure to select this right here, right? This. When we're dealing with multi files, then we can use an header file and different other types of file. But right now we're working with only the .c++ kind of file. So while we add this, so the very first thing I make sure I do is to add boilerplate. My boilerplate. It's everybody has their own definitive ways of writing a code, but I think it works best for me when I impute the very basics. So this right here allows me to use the standard naming library. So I don't have to use there's a particular syntax which I'm trying to avoid in using. So this just makes it easier for me to write my code with the cout, scene, and various others. The system pause allows me to, when I run my code, it allows for a wait, right? It allows for a wait for, it allows me to wait. It waits from an input before it cuts off the program, something like this. Uh, So it has to wait for me to input. It has to wait for me to press any key to continue. Or it waits for an input for me, or it waits for you know just an action. But without the system pause, it automatically just runs the code. It doesn't wait for an action. It just shuts it off. You see that? You see how fast that is. So yeah, that's the essence of the system pause. So let's see. For the very first for the very first action, let's try to get an input from a user and then send that input into um, a text document, right? So um, let's ask a random question, something like who is the best football player of all time? Uh, so um, So what I did right here is to create a variable with a variable, a string variable. So this string allows me to save text like text like um, variables, right? Text like inputs into the variable answer. But in order for me to be able to use the string itself, I have to include it. I have to include it from the external module, and that's why I'm including the string right here. And also, in order for me to use an input and an output file, I have to include the f string, which is also an external module, right? So output f string, a file called answer dot txt. What this means is I'm outputting a file, a text file. The extension .txt means that the file I'm trying to create, it's a text kind of file. And then um, file, I'm sending my answer into that file, right? And after this file dot close, we open the file, we send our answer, our input into the file, and then we close the file. But before we do this, right, we have to error proof our code, and that's to check if a file gets created or not. So if there is no file, okay, so I don't think we need to do this since we are trying to create and not read from a file, right? So um and then we just let's run our code and see if it actually works. Okay, so okay, let me run this again. Now it isn't waiting for us to input an answer. Why? Because we did not use the cin operator, which means we're supposed to take in an answer first. Now, after taking in the answer, that is when we can send that answer to the file. So, yeah, I think it's Cristiano Ronaldo, and nobody can tell me otherwise. So right now it was successful. But how do we know that our file was created? So we can go to our Visual Studio Code, which is located in the document, and in here we can add to projects, and in here we can add to, I think it's 13th right here, and voila, we have our answer. But now there's another problem. It is taking in only the first value of the input. So what we have to do is to correct this place right here. So there is a function we can use, which is the get line. Um, no, this is wrong. So this is where we are supposed to use the get line function. File takes into values. Shouldn't be here. So I think it's get line, and then we're taking the input from the answer, and then so we just have to run this and see if it works. Um, still online. So we'll go back to our folder. Then this is it. So um, that was a success. So we've been able to successfully um, write into a file, an external file, and we've been able to successfully take in not just a single word, but a line of word and input that into an external file. So let's see how we can take the inputs or take the contents from an external file and then bring those contents outside into our C++ program. It's actually quite easy because there are only a few things that we need to change. So first off, we are not getting any line, we're not getting an input. We are instead taking something, a content from this folder, from this file, which exists inside this folder. Not this one, but this one, right? A file exists inside here. And so what we have to do is remove this, change this to an input file, and now we can proof it. So if if there's no file, right? So we bring out an error stating that there's no file available, right? And then it returns an output code, right? But else, if it exists, so um, we send the contents of the file into the answer. So, and then we can close it. But how do we know it works? Let's do this. Who is the best footballer of all time? So, the greatest player of all time is the variable endline. Now let's run this. The greatest player of all time is Cristiano, but we're still having a problem. Why? Because it is taking only the first input of the text. How can we get um, the entirety of the line? So what we do instead, we use the getLine function right here. So the file, and we send it into the answer. So um, hopefully that works. Yeah, it does. Cristiano Ronaldo. But then, what if there is a file with multiple text, multiple lines of text, paragraphs, and all of that? How would we do it? Because obviously, this method wouldn't work, right? So, what we do instead is first off, let's create right here. So, inside our main folder, we're going to create a document So it's a subject, list of subjects, and we can save it right within our project folder. Yeah, here where the answer.txt exists, and then that is where we save it. So we're going back to our code, and we're going to be using the double-ended queue, which is used for storing objects, right? So the double-ended queue spelled that way, and so we this is where I declare my subject variable. This variable right here, that's the container that would hold all of the subjects, right? So um I think I'm going to be needing a function that takes in a constant string, right? um percent. And don't mind all of this stuff, it's just a bunch of. Okay, so I wanted to declare that move the body all the way to the bottom, but I think I can write it right here. So let's say all all the subjects we offer include mm, line. Um, let's declare an index, and we can initialize it to 1, and then we can call a for loop. But we have to be very careful right here, right? Because since we're using Visual Studio or C++10, the method we can use, instead of using the range method or something like this, um, subject subject, then it wouldn't, yeah, it would bring out an error saying the reference variable subject requires an initializer. So it just wouldn't work. Instead, we can declare uh what is it called? Instead, we can declare an unsigned variable. And I think this is the, I don't know if I'm correct, but I think this is how, yeah, so I think this is how you write it. So I is less than the size of subject. It's written this way: subject of size, yeah, then I plus plus. Right here, that's what we're covering. So um, the index value, index plus equals to 1, or index plus plus would work. Let's use index plus equals to 1, and the subject, each and every, while you're looping through the subjects, right? We're bringing out each and every value, and then just to a new line. So I think I do not know why this is here. I think let's see if maybe I can change this. Okay, yeah, yeah. I think it's just because I was um manually adding the one. I don't know. I don't know why that works. But, so yeah, IF stream right here. Then we'll call the file, which is the subject.txt. Um, right. Um, so proof we can proof the file right here. If there is no file, the file doesn't exist. We bring out an error saying the file does not exist, and then and this then we return an error code right here. But if it does exist, if it does exist, so for each and every of the subjects, or the subject of subjects, while it exists. So we're using a loop because there are multiple objects, because we are iterating through um, we're iterating through the text. So we have to create a loop that would traverse through the entire document. So we can use the get line function right here for the file and for subject. Yeah, subject pushback. Add each and every subject that exists in the loop. The close. And now to print out, to use our function, I think we can declare it right here. Print um, subject. So I hope this works. I don't know. I think I'm missing something. But let's run this. Oh, it works. So as you can see, um, from right here, we have physics, optics. Let me try and place. So we have this, and then we have this. So we have physics, optics, we have chemistry, organic chemistry, we have biology, biology, we have English, and then we have mathematics, trigonometry, and that sums up the lesson. Not entertaining. So, just for a summary of all we did today. So, first off, I talked about the Nigerian group game. I don't know if it's a group game, but it was a game against the Ugandan side for um, the qualifications, the FIBA AfroBasket qualifications. We did well. It was impressive. The individual skill set of each and every player is just mind blowing. I mean, we're blessed with a lot of talent. But aside that, I was able to help us go through some problems regarding C++ programming languages. We did the input and output writing and reading of files. We dealt a bit into the structure of the C++ programs. Um, I hope I hope I was able to provide some sort of solution to the problem some people are facing. I hope I was able to provide some sort of help to people who will be taking their exams very soon, and students from the University of Lagos. So I hope I was a good help. I know this part of the program was boring for other viewers, but I do hope you come back. I do hope you tell me if it was helpful. I do hope that I did something at least. So this is the end of the video. For those that haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like, and share if this video was some sort of help to you. I know this wasn't perfect. Um, I'm still trying. I'm still learning myself, but God be the glory. So, thank you guys for staying. Thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you guys for checking in, and see you later. Jamal out.